Hello, and welcome to today's Techie Tea Party. Thank you for taking the time to join us. Today's session is looking at Google Docs. We'll be showing you different ways that you can create documents, some of the tools and features within the doc that we think in particular are really useful and worthwhile you knowing about. And the third thing is showing you what it looks like when you collaborate in documents in real time with other people. In this video, it'll just be two people, but hopefully during our task, you'll see what it might look like with a few more people being involved. So the first thing is, how do we actually create a doc? So I'm on my Google homepage. I'm going to come up to apps in the top right hand corner, and I'm just going to scroll down until I find docs. So this blue icon here. I can then click this and it'll take me to a page where it'll ask me if I want to use a template that they've prepared, and underneath that it'll also have documents that I've looked at recently. That might be ones I've just looked at, it might be ones that I've been working on and creating. For the purposes of this, I'm going to choose a blank one. So that's the first way of doing this. Another way is doing it directly within your drives, your online storage space. So to do that, I'm going to come up to my top right hand corner again, choose the apps, and then scroll down until we see Drive, which is here. I then click this, and depending on how much you've used drives, this may vary quite considerably. Some people like to create folders, and some people like to use drives a lot, and some people, like myself, seem to have a lot of documents all over the place. So don't worry too much if yours is looking slightly different to this. In a future session, we are going to be looking at all things Google Drive, so we'll give you some tips and hints there as well. So what I'm going to do to create a document in here is I'm just going to come to Files at the bottom. Depending on the device you're using, you might be able to right click, or you may need to do a double click or a bunny click, if you will, with two fingers. So because I'm on a Chromebook, I'm going to do a double click with two fingers. And then you'll see that lots of different options have popped up. I'm going to go to Google Docs, going to go where the arrow is and choose Create a Blank Document. And again, you'll see that that has taken us to the untitled document again. The third way, and my favorite way of doing it because it's so quick and can be done regardless of what you're looking at, is at the top in the address bar, just type in doc.new and press an enter. And straight away, that will create a new Google document that is stored within your Google Drive, but it means you don't have to follow all the other steps to get there. So, for people who are completely new to Google Docs and are not sure what it really is, the thing I would compare it to that I think most people have an idea of is Microsoft Word. A lot of the functionality is the same. It is for your word processing, but also allows you to create a range of different other things through it. The first thing I recommend people do is that they give things a title. So to do that, all we do is come to the top left-hand corner. When I hover over it, you see it pops up with rename. I'm going to click here and I'm going to call it Stuart's Example. And then as I click off, you'll notice at the top there, it says saving, and then it says all changes saved in Drive. This will be happening constantly. So as I'm working, it's being saved. So that means that I don't need to panic in going to file and save like I may need to do on other platforms and systems. The first tool that I'm going to quickly demonstrate for you, and one that I think is particularly useful, is the speech-to-text tool. So to get that, I just click Tools at the top, and you'll see the option of voice typing. You'll see beside it, it says Control, Shift, and S. If I was to hold those three buttons together, it would also pop up. So that might be good to know if your students in particular like little shortcuts, or if you're a fan of using different shortcuts as well. So I then simply click on this, and you'll notice the microphone has now popped up. So I can now click the microphone, and hopefully what we should see happening is that this starts to type, full stop. In general, this works really well. However, it can be very difficult when you've got a lot of background noise happening, full stop. So in a classroom, this can cause slight frustrations, especially for students, full stop. It also means that you need to think about where your full stops go, full stop. Otherwise, it ends up being just quite a large amount of text, full stop. But you can see there that very quickly I've been able to pull in some writing and some ideas without having to really do much work. So for younger students, this is really useful, where their actual spelling, their actual finding where the letters are on the keyboard can be real barriers. This can help a lot. For students where maybe the physical act of putting words down on paper is a real barrier, this helps. I know colleagues have used this in the past to help get the kind of main ideas down for a report writing. So very quickly you can create quite a lot of text. The other thing that I've had teachers tell me it's really useful for is actually giving feedback on the text. So especially in secondary, where for certain subjects, marking can take hours upon hours upon hours, this has been shown to actually greatly reduce the amount of time. So the easiest way to do that is if I just come down here, I can then change my font to be in a different color. So for this, I'll change it to blue. And if I'm a teacher, come along, Mr. Brown wants to give some feedback to Stuart who's written this. Again, I can just press the microphone. Excellent piece of work, Stuart, full stop. I am really impressed with what you've written and the amount of content that you've included, full stop. So very quickly I can give that feedback. Hopefully that's timely, hopefully it pushes learning forward, and students are obviously able to access this at any time to actually check on that feedback. So the next thing that I'm going to show you is how this looks like when you've got people collaborating on the same document. So the first thing I'm going to do is to prepare the document for that to happen. In general, what you find really useful with this is creating tables. So I'm just going to press enter to return a few steps below. I'm then going to go to insert at the top, and I'm going to choose table. For this, I'm going to do it a little bit about the students. I'm going to have the first column as being a identifier, so that might be done by numbers, by letters, but essentially it's based to say a number and who it is who's writing in that row. Second one's going to be favourite animal. Third one's going to be a fact about it. Fourth one we're going to have as an image. So I'm going to scroll down, and as you can see as I'm scrolling down here, it's making more and more rows. Really what you're wanting is a row per person plus one at the top to title them. So for the purpose of this, I'm going to choose 13. So I then click that box and my table then pops up. If I want to change the sizes, you can see I can just drag that along. And I can drag that along as well. So I'm going to have this as number. This is animal. This as fact. And we'll have the third one as image. And we'll then talk about how you can easily put images into documents. So at this point, I now need to share it with my other account. To do that, one way that's nice and easy, in the top right hand corner, you can see the share button. So I simply click that, and I can then type in either a name, if you're in a system and you maybe message a person a lot, that'll come up quicker, or a specific email address. So I'm going to send this to my EduBuzz account. So you can see two different accounts have popped up there. I'm going to choose the one at the bottom and then click send. And then I'm going to pop over into my other device, but leave this running on here, and you'll hopefully be able to see what this looks like when the other person logs in and when they're actually starting to type things. If you bear with me just for 1 second, this will hopefully start happening. So you can see that I'm seeing writing pop up, and this isn't me, this is another Stuart Brown, has started to write there. And you can see that as they're typing, the boxes are changing sizes to match with their writing. Then, to show you this slightly differently, just to show you what it looks like when someone puts in an image. So that's what it looks like if you're working on a document and you see that happening at the same time. To quickly show you how they were able to add that unicorn really quickly is you just type in here. If you go to insert at the top, you can then choose image, and then you can choose search the web. So I can then type the animal I'm looking for. not exactly what I was after. And then I can just drag that across to where I want it to go. So obviously you can have them all working in the same document at the same time. The next thing that you probably want to look at is how do you actually communicate with each other? How can students give each other feedback? How could they have conversations about how they could improve it, make things better? One way to do that would be like before, having different colors and people comment in their space. The way that we would most recommend is if I came here, I can click here and then I can go up to either this comment at the top, or you'll see a little bubble here that says add comment. So if I click that, you'll see this pops up and I can write excellent fact. I'm really impressed. And then I just click comment and that's it posted. And then what will happen is you'll see there at the side, we have the comment stays. And there is then the option, if I click on it, is that we can add another reply. So we can have a stream of discussion happening, an ongoing conversation. The other option is you'll see there's the option to resolve. So if that was a teacher had popped on and said, I think this needs to be improved, check your spelling, check your punctuation, whatever else you'd want to focus on, they can then click to say that's been resolved, that's been done.